So I'm just here for questions and let's go.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'll explain right away. Oh, he's going. This run is Overworld Tonics. You're not actually going to see any 2D level in the game at all. We're going to collect 60 of the 61 tonics available in the game, and it's going to start going right away.
This is cool. I've never seen a tonic only speedrun before.
Oh, it's really fun. We're going to abuse a lot of things with how the physics, or not physics, but like where height is and how we can gain height. So yeah, the one thing I should mention is these runs we allow to be performed with a read-only file, so we just skipped the intro completely. Coming up here, Aljex is going to do a trick called an air swim. We're going to abuse the fact that when you're in the water, you constantly will rise. So Aljex is going to go and get himself below the water here.
Hold on, are we live?
Yeah.
Yes.
What the? Oh my god! I was tapped out, like sorting the Twitter stuff out. I didn't realize. I thought you were like rehearsing us or something.
Oh
Whoops.
no, we're going. We're going.
Oh,
so
dear.
one thing about this tonic here, we actually didn't think we used to be able to get that tonic at all without purchasing every single paywall up until that point. But then one day we were just kind of messing around on that wall, fell behind the frog, or the Blamphibia, I should say, and figured out we can just roll into it.
That's cool. I've never seen that one. And it's interesting as well because it's scaled down and like put in the floor. It's kind of a fluke that the hits are still on, like the collision is still on, that you can flip it.
It was great. So Aljex is just gonna kind of swim into stuff which kind of pushes you down, funny enough. Keep swimming here below Nimbo, and his goal over here is a cave that has a vertical entrance instead of a horizontal one.
Yeah, funny thing, he's actually carrying on momentum through going on that load there.
Yep,
It's
if he
really
does it
cool.
right, there, he won't even have to do the box puzzle.
So did you go through that door because that's the only one you can get to while rising?
So,
Or
no,
just because
you'll
you come out
actually,
and get...
if you stick around for 24Bs, you'll see another place that we go. It's just a place that makes the most sense with the fact that we have to pick up all the tonics.
Yeah, also,
Okay.
while being in that air swim, we actually can't manually go down because we're like constantly in the state of swimming up. So we have to hit a loading zone at some point to not infinitely swim up and just go out of the map.
Yep. So in this room, Aljex is just going to kind of abuse again some of the systems to get on top of things. He probably shouldn't, and skip puzzles. Nice precise little roll jump there, and we grab the tonic.
So as you said, you didn't know we were doing like overworld only runs. Actually, when the game came out, I was really surprised by how great the overworld is. Like,
Oh, it's like its own Zelda game. It's
sometimes
fantastic.
I found myself wanting to play more of the overworld than of the actual 2D levels. Like, I was in a constant state of, now I want to do 2D levels, now I want to do overworld, and there was like always something to do. It was so cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance. I think the cool thing about the game is each area you're in, you want to, like, you're thinking about that area, right? And then when you go into one of the, like the other one that you're not in, you now want to be in that one. So I don't think when you're in the 2D level you want to be in the overworld anymore, but it's kind of fun just to be where you are, you know. I think it's
Totally.
a really nice balance that it strikes.
Totally. So right here, Aljex is using more of the fact that you can basically stand on anything in the overworld, and the fact that this pipe man, who we call Pipe OD, I think there's an emote for that in chat if you want to spam it. He's abusing the fact that his arm goes up, and he can just jump himself right over to a wall, which skips a puzzle, and having to collect 1,000 quills.
Yeah, that's a big one. That saves so much time.
Get those
It's funny as well
Pipe OD.
because like the only reason he has hits is because it would look weird if it just clipped through you anyway, right? So
Yeah.
it's cool to have that be used for some kind of gameplay.
He's a very beloved new character. There we go.
Were there any things in the overworld that you guys found out to be like broken or skippable by yourselves?
Yeah.
I think I broke something at one point, and I remember taking it to you, Hamish, and you were like, I spent ages on that. I did it by accident.
Yeah.
I can't remember
happens.
precisely.
That stuff
I don't know
does
if
happen
we...
quite a lot.
Did we fix that in the end, or can you still do it? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that one. Like I say, it happens quite a lot, and sometimes it'll be if we can see this, like breaking the game for a typical player, we'll fix it. But if we decide actually this is probably something that you have to really be trying to do it, then it's normally fine. We'll kind of leave it in there. Because when you're making the game, you've got like limited time, so it's like which bugs are the priority ones, and those are the ones that we'll fix.
Right. So right back there, you saw Aljex ground pound or buddy slam through the top of the furnace room, as we call it. It's just kind of lining up a specific point on your buddy slam shadow. We think that the animation or like the hitbox is just like a pixel wide, so you can fall into a crack.
Cool.
And so, one thing we forgot to mention, everything Aljex has been doing up until this point, he's had to do without messing up, and that's because he doesn't have the ability to warp. So you see we collect one B here, that's only for the ability to warp.
Ah, I see, yeah.
Yeah, we found the ability to warp not being bound to like exiting the first level, how it's like supposed to be done, but actually just to collecting the first B and the B appearing on the map and showing you where it's flying.
Yeah, if Aljex had messed up any of those tricks, like the air swim or like slamming into that furnace, like there are a lot of places you can fall into the abyss and just fall forever. And if you do that, you have to completely start the run over.
Yay!
Yeah, so what were your guys' like probably favorite part of the overworld to make?
Big, I don't know, that's a tough question. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it was cool just seeing it evolve, I suppose. Because like this is what I spent my time on for like the 2-something years that we worked on it for.
Sure.
And it was cool to see like what the game started out being, like what we wanted it to be, and then it kind of grew naturally. And we started to add a bunch of features and stuff. Like these state changes was never necessarily part of the original design. That kind of just grew out of building the overworld, and we actually scaled down the size of the overworld to add state changes because we had X amount of levels, and with state changes we needed less space to have 20 levels. So without the state changes, the overworld would have been bigger, and there would have been more levels, I suppose. But yeah, we chose to go for this one and make the overworld more kind of densely packed with interesting stuff, then spread out and a bit more like a typical map world where it's just the levels and not much else between.
Right. No, and the state changes are probably the coolest thing that you guys bring to this kind of formula of the game. I think that's one of the best successes of it.
Yeah, thanks. We put a lot of effort into it, and I think it turned out pretty well. It's kind of hard to know if like when you're starting it, like is it even going to be good? Is it going to be clear what you have to do or anything? But it's cool that it worked out.
Yeah, honestly, for me, specifically the state changes were something before the game came out. I honestly was like, I've seen people claim very different states for something through like a change, and in the end, it like just seeming to be a simple way to add more levels, but it's really so different in this game. Like,
yeah, it was a challenging thing, I guess, because I did a lot of the communication over like what a state change is, and it was hard finding a balance of explaining that it changes the level, but you'll still recognize it. So it was hard to kind of say, hey, it makes it different, but also it's not just the same level with new visuals over it. So that was tricky.
Like one of my favorite ones is probably Gasping Glade. Like it's almost unrecognizable. There's like all like Vine gameplay everywhere, sliding down them, but like in the background you're like, oh hey, I remember that part from the first level. So exactly what you're saying. It's really cool.
Which one's that again?
Chapter 5.
Just like, okay, yeah. Cool, yeah, okay. Because like the level names, we have like our dev names for all the levels.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
90% of the time, and then we only come up with them, the actual names towards the end. So I think everyone knows them internally as like different things.
Interesting.
Do you know, yeah, that is such a nightmare.
are there funny names? Like, did you give them meme names, or like what kind of names?
No, they're normally just very, very boring and descriptive. Like it was Town Frozen was one, and then because it was a town theme and it gets frozen.
Yeah.
And then like Town Large Object was the first level.
Town Large Object is quite funny, to be honest.
Actually,
what's
that was actually funny when we're trying to come up with the name for the game, because that was such a dumb name. I think someone proposed Yooka Laylee Town Large Object.
I would have bought that. Yooka Laylee Country Large Object, exactly. Wow.
So coming up, we're gonna see a cool way to skip an entire time of having to come into this cave. You have to come into it twice, once when it's frozen, once when it's not. But Aljex is just gonna do a cool little roll up the slope and jump over.
Yeah, because sloped walls actually have this fancy way of letting us roll them up if we do like a ground pound before them, or if we fall before them, kind of. That's the way it works.
Yep, if you fall over like a gap and then the slope keeps going, the game decides, okay, yeah, I'll let you roll up me.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't think we ever saw that one during development. It's just also it looks like you can't use the pause thing to get into cages like on the previous game. Which is
correct. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
that's.
there's 2 more little rolls.
There's
Jump
also
into the
like,
beach.
as Ninfox said for the other game, it's like a very console specific thing. We never knew like why exactly, but I mean we suppose console runs on like in some way different code than the PC version.
Right, it's just like Type 1 or Type 2.
It's like all different. Not so much for Impossible Lair though. It seems to like it doesn't have a lot of console specific stuff. I think it had console version 1.0 specific tricks, like 1 or 2 little ones.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So, I
Yeah,
lied
also
to you when I said
technical.
there'd be no 2D gameplay. We do have 2 pages in the run that we have to complete. That's excellent, making quick work of these.
Evil snails. Gosh.
Oh, those are the worst enemies.
I
Well,
hate
actually,
them
you know
so
what? I don't
much.
know. I don't know what my worst enemy is. There's so many bad ones.
Oh no!
The crabs. The crabs and the toads.
The crabs are messing with the speedrunners a lot, actually.
Oh man.
Like in some
They're
places,
awful.
they're just placed in a way that you have to jump off of them, and
They're called Sheldon McFingers, is their official name.
Makes me like them a little bit more, but they still just mess with my runs too much.
Don't you just love the noise he makes when he dies, though?
Yes.
I like that.
More favorite is if you can sometimes jump over them completely. They glitch out and try to hit you even though you're way past them. So they're like, ah, ah, ah!
I think Dean did you do the voice for this, Daily?
For the
sharks?
No, that's Carl.
Carl did that one. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Dean modeled them, which is weird because Dean's an environment artist and he went out of his zone to do character art
Oh, fun.
without asking anyone.
Guys, I want to
The
make
sharks are called the Feasty Boys. Like,
Hmm.
I worked that in after the game was released, but I got the nod from Gav, so it's kind of now okay.
Fun. So another Phoebe jump here, and then we're gonna go get Tonic that's a little infamous in this category. TikTok, TikTok. Back in the days before we learned what Aljex just did, where he just bonks himself onto the KG there, or like little chest there, you had to do a bomb jump up to get the Tonic, and it was right in the beginning of the run. And it killed a lot of people's runs immediately.
yeah, bomb jump is basically we collect a bomb, then we wait until it nearly explodes. Then in the exact perfect moment we jump up, and through the explosion we get boosted a little bit up or into another direction, so we make it up a lot.
Yeah, that one's cool. I didn't know about that one
Like Zelda.
during development. Also, actually, one thing that I didn't know you could do was eat a berry or grab a berry and then pause and warp somewhere with it.
Oh yeah.
And I think if we knew about that, that's one where we would go like, oh, probably shouldn't allow that. We should fix that.
That's used a couple times. I don't know if we use it anymore in any of the runs. We used to use it a lot in 24Bs. It was really helpful to warp bombs and then bomb jump with them. But this game, or this route, you have practically no warps, so they're basically unusable.
So, little inside question: Have you guys managed to get the golden try?
No way.
I don't want to make myself suffer like that. There's no way.
I mean,
There's
I
no
didn't
way.
want to either, but I had to.
The 80% runners are a special kind of breed. They're a little bit of masochists.
Yeah, only Lee, our QA guy, has managed to do that. No one else has even come close, you know.
I remember there was a point I was like, guys, are you sure it's possible? Is this really possible? I don't know.
You'll see.
Well, we
later.
were still Lee was still trying to complete it himself, like very close to the end of development. So like, we really needed him to make sure that it was working and bug free, or else that would have been like very frustrating if someone managed to do it and then it bugged out and you didn't get the tonic.
Why is chat talking about Vendy? Stop! I'm gonna
Guys,
have her
no,
killed
don't let
off.
her- Don't give her power.
I want her like smelted down into something else.
Oh no!
You know?
That's the only time you'll see her in Impossible Lair. Don't worry.
Yeah, she's not part of the 24Bs run.
Neither is
As-
Shipwreck Creek.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We usually don't really like doing tonic runs, which comes down to what I've seen you guys communicate as a thing you implemented for the speedrunners when it actually is super messed with us, which is the TikTok tonic.
It's just too crazy.
Oh, it's way too crazy. Everything moves too fast. The music speeds up with it, so it's not as pleasant.
Yeah, a
It's
lot of
just a
us
hectic
figured.
mess.
A lot of us figured it's not as fun to play with than without, so we actually just do runs without it.
You could mute it though, and put like the soundtrack on in Spotify or something.
True. What I want to see is when the 8-bit soundtrack comes in. Shout outs to Tater Tot Tunes.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. You did a great
Yeah.
job.
It's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, the original name for TikTok, you know, the really fast one, was just like, go really fast.
And there already is run really fast and roll really fast. Might as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was cool. We actually kind of started building what the tonics were exactly and how many there were fairly late in development. And then I think the guy that really took charge of that was Harry, and he did like a really awesome job. And we got way more. He managed to do like way more than we thought that we could do in the time that we had, which really helped the overworld because that's like the secrets that you find. So it made the overworld feel like way more rewarding finding so many of these things in there, and they all do like pretty interesting, cool stuff. I think it's really fun.
No, and there's fun puzzles. The only ones that bothered me were when Planker's like, hey, go this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then you'll be right next to me.
That was good though. Like, I mean,
Very
I liked
funny.
it.
Yeah, it's maybe boring gameplay, but funny jokes. So it goes in.
So right here, Aljex had to do another air swim into this room where Puzz is. This actually isn't accessible until you beat Chapter 3-2. So we initially, some chapters were in the run because we didn't realize we could do that, but as the run has evolved, we've taken every 2D level out.
Cool. I suppose you're lucky the door trigger extends through the floor.
Definitely, that's one of the few that works like that. So coming up
Actually,
here
that,
is.
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go on. I was just gonna say the Shipwreck Creek area there's a build that I've got that's like very early where that was actually the start of the game. You start down there and then you move up to the Impossible Lair area.
Cool.
Might be cool to show that one day, but another day.
So right here, Aljex is doing a trick discovered by our man Ninpalk in chat, the desert out of bounds jump, sometimes called Ninpalk jump itself. You use what we call a long jump, which is basically jumping early on in your roll animation, and you can make it just up and across distances you wouldn't think you can, and it lets us get into the factory area. We're gonna make use of that jump 2 more times in the run as well.
To put it into perspective, I mean, this is This is such a big sequence break. How many coins does it take to burn down the house again,
99?
right?
I think.
Yeah,
Or
that's
100
basically
total,
skipping
something like that.
99
Yeah.
with coins.
Like half the game, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. So now he went to the left side for the tonics, now he's got to go back to the right side.
This is cool actually. I didn't know that. Well, I haven't seen the underground cross room used in speedruns or anything. Like,
Oh yeah, that's one of the main reasons that we could actually take out all of the levels. Prior, we used to get 15 coins, and then we would open up the desert paywall, which would give us access to Chapter 9 as a good warp point. It's a really great central area on the map.
cool.
But thankfully, the junction doesn't take much. Ah, almost got it.
Yeah,
It's
there's
interesting as well when you see him walk on this platform here and he's standing in the air there. that rock back there has like angled hits, so you would think that you could use that other thing where you could scale up the slant, but that one doesn't have it, and I think some of them don't have it because we saw that on that one you could, you know, glitch your way around the corner, so we made like more of them to be more like square-like.
huh.
Interesting. So it's kind of like 50-50 on which ones have slopes and which ones are just cubes.
Well, and the square-like ones are probably the ones we prefer, for speedrunners at least. Those are the ones we can walk on. Here's our only other pagey in the run. Just get to sit and watch some helicopter guys die.
It's my favourite way to spend a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So to talk a little bit about other Overworld runs, as we as speedrunners really enjoy the Overworld, we basically made a category out of everything that is on the Overworld. We also have a Overworld Pages category where we just like skip all over the Overworld and do all the Pagey challenges, which will actually be
running later today.
yeah, it's also in the marathon later today. We also have Overworld Bees, where we just skip over the entire Overworld and collect all the bees.
How quick's that though? That's like, there's only like 8 of them or something.
Oh yeah,
it's like 6-7 minutes is the fastest it's ever been done. Real quick.
Cool. That's awesome. There's like quite a few different categories.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the most important, I want to say, category in speedrunning this game to this date is 24 Bs, which is actually like a completely made up category by us, which has no
Most arbitrary.
no
We're like,
real
hey,
reason to exist, but we wanted
We
to
don't
like
want to collect all 48.
Yeah.
Let's do half.
let's just go as fast as we can with collecting half of the bees and then finishing the lab.
So right there you saw the first bomb jump in the run, and we're gonna use it to get into the woods without paying Trouser. We don't ever like paying Trouser. He's the greedy little snake.
Doesn't deserve it. Yeah. the 24B thing though, that's cool. Because you want that kind of room for like changing up your path through the game, right?
Exactly.
And that's kind of what we imagined the tonics would be actually, where it was like instead of taking different paths, it's like which tonics do you get to then tackle different levels in better ways or whatever. But I guess you guys found a better way to do it.
Yeah, I mean we do have categories for playing with tonics. It's just that I don't know, they're not the runners' favorites right now.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's too much variation.
Here Aljex is just trying to, he can just slam below the green smog there. There it goes.
Just
Get Mr.
falling
Human.
through, nice.
Human, that's one of the best tonics for sure.
Oh, it is.
It gave me nightmares.
It's so good,
here-
so good.
It is.
Here the route's going to either diverge into checking, he's going to check the Pipe OD, Pipe Man, you can get the Pipe ODs in chat one more time. If the arm is in a good place, he's going to use, oh, he might use this. He might, oh nope, he's gonna go against it. He's gonna do one more desert out of bounds. And so one thing I want to mention is that previously in a lot of tonic runs, you would have to have been collecting quills the entire time. But in this version of the route, we have a trick coming up, which is just absolutely insane. We call it Rampo Early, or Rampo Skip. It skips the fact that you have to collect 1,000 quills, and basically it's a sub-pixel perfect trick. So have fun while we watch Aljex try and get it coming up.
Yeah,
My mind is being blown anyway, just watching this. I'm like, what? What's going on? I remember when speedrunners first started like tweeting stuff at us, especially like the bomb jump and stuff. Like they would show us, and then they'd kind of be like, "Please don't patch us out." I was like, "Hey, don't worry, we won't."
Don't make our runs slow.
Yeah, there's always
Yeah.
this thin line of showing it to you guys and being like, hey, see what we did
There's
to your
only
game,
one-
and then being
yeah.
afraid stuff is gonna patched out. Yeah, but
There's
I
only
mean,
one
we can
trick
see
you
it.
patched, I
If it
think.
affects the casual play, then like I'm all in for not having it in. Like if it affects it negatively.
Yeah, there's only one spot where you used to be able to jump over the top of the stage with snowballs that you guys made the wall tall, and it made us very sad.
What was that, sorry?
There was one 2D level where you could jump over part of the stage and skip an entire section, like inside, where you like go into a door and then come out the other side. Like balls and skip over.
Oh, your sound is
But,
cutting out a little
alas.
bit for me.
Yeah, I get cut out a little bit there, but I think I know what you mean. I think like that kind of fixes just from like, you know, if we can tell that yeah that could happen to someone,
Oh, definitely.
then it's like we better do it, you know.
Yep.
So sorry about that.
Understands. Alright, understand why. Alright, we're coming up to the last tonics here. He's just gonna do some cleanup, collecting the last stuff. He'll have to do one more box. Well, Lanks at M, you can go ahead and follow me, and maybe I'll follow you. That's my brother.
Oh no. So we're already coming kind of close to the end of the run, right?
Yep, just like 3 more tonics, I think. Yeah, so right here he's doing a lever bounce. It's fun that you can use like tight, I guess, geometry and launch yourself up. That's a little taste of actually what's gonna happen in the Rampo skip here.
Oh, I think Hamish we cut you off earlier. You wanted to say something?
No, I can't remember. I was just enthralled by what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big same.
I'm trying to figure out how you're gonna get in the rampage.
Alright, so we've come to the point. Aljex is gonna have to use this box here and line it up perfectly next. You can see he's looking really close at the screen, trying to make sure it's lined up let me tell you, it's sub-pixel perfect. And now we do a ground pound onto the KG. At the right spot, let me tell you, it's sub-pixel perfect. If he gets it, you'll see he'll start bouncing back and forth.
Oh,
Ah, not enough height.
is this it?
Not
Oh,
enough
no.
height. We could be here for a while. It's a very hard trick. Oh, he did it! Oh! Very
Hey.
close, very close.
Oh no.
That means
Oh,
he's
it's
got
such a wild
the box
jump.
lined up correctly. Let's get some hype for Aljex. Come on, bring it on home.
This is the one he's got it, surely. Ah.
Oh, what's happening?
So what we think is happening is that because we're like slamming into a space that's so small and we can't hit the ground, it like is slowly building up speed, and like I think vertical speed specifically. And so the game also has a failsafe where if you're slamming for a long time and you don't hit the ground, it will still play the landing animation, and that's what like releases the speed. There he goes. There it got
Cool.
it.
Hey.
Ask Chris Sutherland about that later. I think he's going to be on, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
he'll be able to he'll have an insight, I'm sure.
And there we go. Got past the Rampo.
That's cool.
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
he's happy we can see it.
All things considered, that was still a really fast Rampo skip. Like, it is really hard to get that trick fast.
Yeah, damn, looks crazy.
Would you guys say that a big thing that like feeds into your passion for speed running is like figuring this stuff out and finding these things? It looks like some sort of like weird science that you do in the game.
Oh, 100%. Like, we have people who are literally just like, all right, we had a bounty on that trick specifically for a long time, because we didn't want to collect quills at all on the run, and our boy Captain Brian in chat. Shoutouts to the good hitboxes on those rocks, by the way. Captain Brian found that trick, and he was literally just there was weird interaction when you slammed between objects and played around, and that's what we got.
Yeah, I want to say for what keeps the passion going, it's very different for everyone. There's people who do more glitch hunting, people who do more like full-on grind, like for world records and stuff, and just spend every day practicing and doing the run a bazillion times.
That's
There
awesome.
we go.
So that's all of them except for the... What are those two?
So one of them is the golden try, and
Yeah,
the other one that
yeah.
we do not collect is you have to burn down Trouser's house, which actually takes.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the 99 like coins that we were talking about earlier. So
Yeah.
we just decided to democratically remove
Because
that
it's not part of like the
requirements.
overworld, if you want to say so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
cool.
GG, Aljex.
Nice job, nice work.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You can use them all.
Yeah, now that he's collected all the tonics, we'll have a run coming up where we don't use a single one.
Yeah.